Yeah.
Understanding that this life that we have embarked upon is not just a Sunday go to meeting kind of thing.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So what is it? If it's not something that we just go to church and come home, what is it then?
Well, it's an involved process of constantly bringing to your remembrance and constantly putting in your mind, I should say, and bringing to your remembrance. That's the order it should go in.
Okay.
You put it in your mind and then bring it to your remembrance.
So you're mentally involved.
Yeah, you're mentally involved. Because the Word says that you renew your mind.
Well, that's Romans, because we're studying Romans now. Yep.
And that what we're doing is we're switching from trust in a system that's based on the things of the world, based on the senses, based on the needs of the physical body, based on you know what's been taught us by people and by experience. We're shifting all of that to what's been taught to us by this, what Jesus has done for us, what God thinks of us, what God wants for us, how to truly prosper, how to truly be in health, how to live in a way that has peace and joy.
So we are born again. That's an instantaneous thing. But now we have to remember the book of Romans, which says you may have a new heart, you may have a new spirit, but your mind is still old.
Right.
And we have to begin working on that, right? Is that what you're telling me? Like Romans 12, and it says, be transformed. And of course, Wayne teaches so beautifully about that word transformed. That means it's the word that we get metamorphosis from, that there is a total and complete change in character and in every other aspect. Because of your mind being renewed. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind to this word. So we just have to like reprogram this computer chip we have in here and start educating ourselves about God's ways and God's plan.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, we're coming under a different system of operation, and in order to operate in this system, we have to think differently for it to work right.
Right.
And that's how it is. We're rewiring our system.
Right.
And that's how it works. When you get in the Word and you start seeing things, you start putting it in, and it becomes real to you. You start seeing things change.
Exactly. And this is what has power to change.
Yeah.
And that's why we must live, dwell, and have all of our time that we can in this Word. Because this is what gives you the power to change. You know, Paul said, I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God unto salvation. It is the power of God is this. And anything that's going to be changed in your life, it's going to be a result of you engaging this into your circumstances and thoughts and all of that. Without this, nothing will change. Without this, your eternal future didn't change. Right? If it's powerful enough to do that, how much more can we expect it to change our everyday occurrences, thoughts, abilities, whatever?
Oh,
now
quite a bit more.
Yeah, indeed.
Quite a bit more.
Now, we had left off, Tom, we had been talking about the lunatic boy. And we made a humorous comparison about Tom Cruise, but we won't go back there. And we had left off with Jesus had taken care of this problem that the disciples couldn't deal with. They were fruitless in their dealing with it. And so let's go to, what do you want to start with, 19?
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and go to 19. Okay. Then came the disciples to Jesus apart. They wanted to be separate from everybody so they wouldn't look dumb asking.
They don't want to hear. They didn't want everybody to hear them asking this question.
Let's see. And said, why could not we cast him out?
Yeah, what's the problem?
Yeah. What's wrong with us? How can we do that?
How could we miss it? What's the problem?
Well, we'll see. See, Jesus, he beats around the bush, you know. He don't really get directly to the point of the matter.
I don't think so, Tom.
Kind of skates along so he don't hurt their feelings.
Candy coats it.
You know, yeah. Just make sure it's all nice and tender, pulls his punches a little bit.
Let's see.
Jesus said unto them, because of your unbelief. There you go.
Jesus never minces words. He doesn't play around. He's like, you ask me, this is what you get. You don't believe.
Yep. He says what he means, and he means what he says.
Phew.
For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible to you.
Now, Tom, just as you were saying that, I had the thought that I never thought about this verse before, because they always say, oh, the mustard seed is the littlest seed, and it grows up big, and all this kind of stuff. But that's not, Jesus is not saying that.
Right.
Jesus didn't say, if you have this little bit and it's going to grow and get big. No, he said, if you would have had even that much.
Yep.
If you would have only had that much.
Yep.
You didn't even have that.
Right.
You didn't even have the teeniest portion of measure I can think of in your faith.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So really, he's slamming them pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, what he's saying is that, look, I told you that you have the authority to do these things, but you obviously didn't believe me.
You don't believe.
So let me illustrate it like this. If you even just had this little bit, you could have done it.
The teeniest thing I can think of.
But you didn't even believe that you had any.
You didn't believe it. Nope.
That's the whole problem I have with this.
Yep. Well, I wrote a note in my Bible from what you had preached on this before, because this is one of your favorite Bible stories.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I wrote, it's not the size of your faith when he's talking about the mustard seed.
Right, right.
It's not the size of your faith, it's the size of your believing what was told.
Right.
You're believing it. You know, faith is believing. And people talk about you got to have big faith. No, you got to have big believing.
Right, right.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. But the Bible talks about believing, getting the work done.
Right.
Believing what Jesus says, believing what this word says, that's what gets the job done.
Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly why it's important to study the Word.
Right.
Because you can have the measure of faith, but if you don't know what to use it on and what to believe,
bingo,
it's
Tom.
useless. You can't do nothing with it.
We have to search this out and find out what we are effectively believing for and what we need to stay away from.
Right.
Because people have gotten all whacked out and they think, oh, I'm going to just believe for everything I want. And if they would just follow Jesus and understand, this is not giving you the power to be more selfish.
Right, exactly.
It goes against the Word.
Right, yeah. It's like people see it as a license just to get their stuff.
To be greedy.
And not worry about everybody else.
Then I go into the book of James, Tom, where it says,
there you go.
You ask and ask and ask, and you don't receive because you ask amiss, just wanting things so that you can spend it on your own lust.
Right. Right.
And it's like, if you knew enough of the Bible to know that, you would understand we have to get all of our direction from here, or we're not going to receive anything.
Right, right.
My.
You know,